In this video, I want to go over the status of the DIY resources to make VFE pedals, where we're at right now, where things are going, and how this Indiegogo campaign can help me take that final step to making the resources you need to make VFE pedals available to you. There are 4 things that are essentially kind of custom that you can't just buy off the shelf. And that is the drilling template on the enclosure, the circuit board, there's some custom potentiometers that you just can't find off the shelf, and then this is a pre-programmed microcontroller. So I'm going to try to go through these one by one. Let's start with the circuit board. You can go to my website, vfepedals.com, and you can buy the design files and the DIY information that you need to go make it yourself. But I'm not selling the physical good because I don't have time to ship and fulfill orders. And so that's where Mad Bean Pedals comes in. Here's madbeanpedals.com. You can click shop. You can scroll to the bottom, and eventually you get to the section that says VFE. And they've got quite a lot. So if you wanted to go build one today, you could. So it's a different drilling template. The circuit boards look like this. There's 3 main pots that go like so. And then there are 3 smaller parts, either switches, toggle switches, or something like this. And it's this part that is harder to source. And when you can source it, sometimes the part value I had custom made, and I don't even have any more of those. So you kind of have to use a different value that's sort of the same, but not exactly the same. So you can't really build them perfectly to spec. Some of them you can, just not everyone. It used the 1590B enclosure, which was thinner, so that couldn't do top mounted jacks. So it had the side mounted. I never designed these circuit boards to be built by others. At that time, I was just building it myself. So I never had DIY in my mind. When I designed these ones, I had DIY in my mind. And so the way that this system works is it's top mounted jacks for this slightly thicker enclosure, same footprint size. It's got regular knobs instead of those mini potentiometers, and this kind of gets in there like that. So it's got top mounted jacks on your main board. The only thing about this that is a little more difficult for DIYers is the fact that often I had to use some surface, not always, often I had to use surface mount ICs, in large part because they didn't even come in through hole anymore, some of them. And also I took the opportunity in many of the designs to update and refine and either add a feature or more fine-tune a control to make it easier to use, all that sort of stuff. Mad Bean Pedals doesn't have this version, and I want to help update their inventory. And so at $10,000, I'm going to send them over enough circuit boards for 500 pedals, 100 of 5 different pedals, to get them started so that they can start to make that transition of their inventory without all the upfront costs. The goal is that as I keep raising more is to be able to send more and more and more to eventually have plenty of different resources for them to make that transition. But even then, because of the back order of a particular part, an LTC 3261 part, that transition is going to take a good year. If we go crazy over the top with fundraising, we're talking 25 grand plus, then I could accelerate that timeline to potentially the summer, because if I pay extra money to buy it from a distributor who happens to have it in stock, and by extra money I mean an extra couple $1,000s, then I can get it much sooner. So these potentiometers here are custom. So here's a dual gang B1K and C1K. This one's a dual gang, but it's got C10K on one side and C100K. I use this in the Klein bottle, the standout, the pinball, the dragon. This one is a W200K. This is used in a lot of the soft clipping compression controls. This is an anti-log, but a 10%, not a 15%. So not a C. This is marked as RD, 1 meg. And so this I use for the LFO, for the tractor beam and the coral reef. And then lastly, this is kind of the same idea. D100K is an logarithmic or an A taper, but at 10%. And so I use this often in gain and sometimes even in volume for things with high volume, so that I can have that high gain range but still be able to dial in low gain. So right now you can find all the stomp box parts. I'm going to actually just show you where to find this. So if I go to potentiometers and then click on 16 millimeter pots. All right, now here's the thing. It's in 4 different locations. So let's just start. This one says 6 millimeter. So anyway, so that right there, you can find that. If you go over to the center T tent, you can find the W200K right here. If you go down to the dual gang, you'll find the B1K, there it is, C1K, there it is, and we got that C10K, C100K. So all of them there are there. The one that didn't have any extra to send to them, but they ordered it anyway. They said it should come here in the next month, like by the end of the year. You would go here to the short PCB leg, just a standard one, and it'll be called the D100K. So it's not in there yet, I don't believe. Yeah, no D yet. That's where you would find it. All right, next step, the enclosure. In the DIY files at VFEpedals.com, there is a drilling template that tells you, location and such. I'm working with Pedal Parts Plus, so I talked to them this week. This isn't available yet, but this will be available soon on their website. And all you got to do there is just go up here and just type in VFE. If you're going to MadBeam's website and you're getting a circuit board right now, there's the drilling template for the 1590B, the ones that are all on MadBeam's site. And then this one right here is an older design, but I'm going to get that updated to the one I just showed you. Hopefully that'll be changed by the end of this campaign, by the end of the year. All right, that leaves one final thing. This microcontroller controls the relay switch, the LED light that turns on and off the pedal. Basically, it takes the momentary foot switch and converts it into something to turn on and off a relay. It's got a couple of tricks up the sleeves. It can actually switch non-latching and latching style relay switches, so it can do both. And so I have a whole video explaining more of that, and I'll have another video about like how you set it up in those different modes and such. But the big thing about this is that the code that this gets programmed with, the hex code file, is something that I had developed by Jack DeVille, Mr. Black Pedals, a long time ago, and I paid them for the license for me to use that code commercially in my own builds. And I could also program these chips and sell the chip to you. But what I couldn't do is give you the code. At the $15,000 level, I'll be able to buy the rights to distribute that code. And then I'm just going to make it available for free. And once you have the code, where you would go is microchipdirect.com. That's this website here. The controller is the PIC 12F509. There's a bunch of different package styles. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Here's the dip style. And then I could click on this one and go through the steps to upload my hex code and buy them and stuff like that. However, once I own, because I can't do it yet, but once I own that code and can distribute it, I'm going to find someone who'll be willing to sell the chip. There you go. That's my goal, is to make everything available, build a VFE pedal, and then that way I'm out of the shipping loop. I can focus all my time on teaching. I will still repair that I've done, the pedals that I've built, VFE pedals that I've built, obviously not things that other people have built. Anything that you buy in this Kickstarter from me that is physical, I will service it. I don't have any plans to walk away from that. There's the whole thing, and my goal is to get it out there as quickly as possible, to be as generous as I can be, to give away a lot of it so that it becomes a real resource to you.